When you have a league like the NFL that's been around for so long, it's not surprising that we've seen some crazy moments over the years. Here are 20 of the craziest moments in NFL history. On paper, Super Bowl 48 was just as good as any other NFL championship game. After all, there had to be a loser. The high-powered Denver Broncos were playing the Seattle Seahawks, who had a great defense with one of the best secondaries in recent memory. The Broncos were slight favorites, and many experts said that Peyton Manning would be named the best quarterback in NFL history if they won, and he played well. But what happened was not something anyone expected. Seattle completely dominated the Broncos in all three parts of the game for the whole 60 minutes. Time and time again, Seattle's defense let Manning throw short passes that gained 4 or 5 yards before a group of defenders swarmed the receiver and brought him down. When the dust settled, the Seahawks had won the game with a 43-8 score. This had to be the most dominant game in NFL history. When you fall, you just have to keep rising, and that's what number 19 is all about. Brett Favre played quarterback in every game from 1992 to 2010. He played in 297 games in a row, plus 24 more in the playoffs. As the Packers quarterback, he was knocked out of 8 games. Each time, he came back the next week. Favre not only played, but he played well. He won the Most Valuable Player award 3 times in a row, led the Packers to a Super Bowl win, and still holds the all-time records for passes, completions, yards, and touchdowns. In 2010, when he was 41, a hit from Buffalo Bills linebacker Arthur Moats caused a sprained sternoclavicular joint in his right shoulder. This was the end of his streak. His streak of being hurt had to come an end, but didn't until after he had been listed 92 times. Just surprising. We just have to go from an injury streak to a little rivalry between brothers and our number 18. You have to wonder what John and Jim Harbaugh were feeling as they got ready for Super Bowl 47. For both of them, it was the first time they had ever played in the Super Bowl. No one wanted to talk about the game at all. This is because it was the first time in the history of professional sports that 2 brothers coached different teams in a postseason game. The score was 34-31, and the Ravens won. Joe Flacco threw 3 touchdown passes, and Jacoby Jones scored on a 108-yard kick return. Must have been painful for the loser brother. From a rare family rivalry to our number 17, something everyone has seen many times. Playoffs? Don't talk about the postseason. Are you kidding me? Playoffs? I just want us to win at least one game. Any game. It's the most famous soundbite in NFL history and maybe in all of sports. It's something everyone has seen many times. Parodies have even been done in commercials. The real story is that former Indianapolis Colts head coach Jim Mora was asked how likely it was that his team would make the playoffs after a terrible loss to the San Francisco 49ers, in which Peyton Manning threw 5 interceptions. Mora was fired at the end of the season, in which the Colts lost 10 games and gave up 486 points, which was the most any NFL team had given up in 20 years. Damn, that's gotta hurt. Number 16 is what you couldn't ever have predicted. Never. This scandal was something no one saw coming. In April 2007, Michael Vick, quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, was given a 23-month prison sentence for his part in a dogfighting ring that was against the law. Vick ran the ring for 5 years and gave most of the money for the gambling part of the business. Vick had to file for bankruptcy in 2008 because he had lost his NFL salary and endorsement deals. His fall from being the first pick in the draft and a possible franchise quarterback to a prisoner who some people thought would never play again is unheard of. This just made his return to the game 2 years later even better. A major shift. Yeah, a major shift in the NFL went down in number 15. In 2001, there were 31 teams in the National Football League. In 2002, the NFL added a 32nd team, the Houston Texans. This gave the league enough teams to split into 8 divisions of 4 teams each. The Seattle Seahawks also left the AFC and joined the NFC. Even the playoff picture changed because of how the divisions were rearranged. The league now has 4 division winners and 2 wildcard teams. Before, there were 3 division winners and 3 wildcard teams, and the best wildcard team got to host a playoff game. Disrupted the league for good, though. Some NFL teams do not take risk, and you'll see that in number 14. It could be the most risky thing an NFL team has ever done. In March 2012, the Indianapolis Colts let Peyton Manning go because they didn't want to give him a $28 million bonus. Manning missed all of the 2011 season because of neck injuries, and it wasn't clear if he would ever play again, let alone get back to his best. The Colts were able to get a highly regarded quarterback in Andrew Luck by letting Manning go, and Manning was free to sign with any team he wanted. Tim Tebow was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, so when Manning chose Denver, they went from having one of the worst quarterbacks to having one of the best. That's a genius upgrade, really. It happens, no surprise there. But that still doesn't make number 13 any less shocking. Every game you play, you lose. It's the worst thing that could happen to an NFL team, and no fan base should have to go through it. In 2008, the Detroit Lions became the second team in modern times to get this bad record. They gave up 517 points, making them the third team to do so in a single season. We tell you, it's still shocking. From shocking to magical, number 12 can't be any better. Tim Tebow and the Denver Broncos shocked the AFC champion Pittsburgh Steelers in overtime of the wildcard playoffs. Tebow led the Broncos to improbable wins after wins during the regular season, but he had trouble in the last 3 games of the season. He completed 10 of 21 passes for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns against the NFL's best defense in the wild-card round of the playoffs. The game was probably Tebow's last win as an NFL starting quarterback, and it was the end of a magical season in which he led the Broncos to 6 fourth-quarter drives that won games. Literally magical. Number 11's got some excitement waiting for you. The last quarter of Super Bowl 38 was more exciting than the first 3 quarters put together. It also had more points. With 2 minutes and 55 seconds left in the game, linebacker and tight end Mike Vrabel caught a touchdown pass from linebacker and tight end Tom Brady that gave the Patriots the lead. But Jake Delhomme and the Panthers came back, and with just over a minute left in the game, Ricky Proehl caught a 12-yard touchdown pass to tie the game. So Brady had time for one more play. In less than a minute, he moved the Patriots 37 yards, which set up Adam Vinatieri's game-winning 41-yard field goal, his second in 3 seasons. When you have Brady, there's excitement, just as easy as that. Ever heard of replicas? That's what number 10 has got for you. A back-and-forth Super Bowl made it possible for Manning to have a great ending. With 5 minutes and 35 seconds left in the game and the Colts down 24-17, they got the ball and had a chance to make history. Manning got the Colts close enough for a field goal, but on the 3rd and 5th, Tracy Porter picked off his pass to Reggie Wayne and ran it back 74 yards for a touchdown. That was the final blow, and the Saints won 31-17. Peyton's childhood dream, as he watched his father play for the Saints in the 1970s, was to throw the touchdown that won the Super Bowl for the Saints. He did exactly that in Super Bowl 44, achieving a lifelong dream. What a relief. Ever believed in miracles? Number 9 is nothing short of that. For the Tennessee Titans to beat the Buffalo Bills in the wildcard round, nothing short of a miracle had to happen. Right, and then threw it across the field to wide receiver Dyson, who was running down the sideline for a 75-yard touchdown. There you have your miracle. Over the years, there have been a number of professional athletes who made a big deal out of leaving their sport only to return the next year. But Brett Favre knew how to retire better than anyone else, and we mean that. Favre retired 3 freaking times. A little longer after, the St. Louis Rams called the 44-year-old to see if he would be their starting quarterback after Sam Bradford got hurt and had to miss the rest of the season, but Favre turned down their offer. And it's almost certain that the 3-time MVP is really done with football. Favre really broke the bank of retirements. All great things do have beginnings, and that's exactly what our number 7 has for you, the beginning of greatness. With just under 2 minutes left in the AFC divisional playoffs, the Patriots were behind the Oakland Raiders by a score of 13-10. Tom Brady moved back to pass, but Charles Woodson hit him, and he lost the ball. When the Raiders jumped on the loose ball, the game seemed to be over, but the officials called the tuck rule, which said that Brady's pass was an incomplete because he tried to tuck it back into his body. The Patriots won 16-13 in overtime. This exciting win set the stage for the first of their 3 Super Bowl wins in 4 years. When you've got one of the best quarterbacks, you should expect nothing less. History, yes. Number 6 is one thing you don't want to forget in NFL history. On paper, it didn't look like the New England Patriots could beat the St. Louis Rams in Super Bowl 36. The Patriots did what they do best during the Super Bowl, which was to take advantage of the other team's mistakes. When Vinatieri's 48-yard field goal went through the uprights, the Patriots had pulled off one of the biggest upsets in Super Bowl history and taken the first step toward becoming a dynasty. For the Rams, the disappointing loss marked the end of a short but but very scary time when they were the best team in football. Lesson of the day: you don't have to be the best to beat the best. It's probably the most exciting way a Super Bowl has ever ended in the history of the NFL. It was the closest a game has ever got to going into overtime. The Tennessee Titans were behind the St. Louis Rams 23-16 with 6 seconds left in the game. McNair took the snap, stepped back, and threw to Kevin Dyson in the middle of the field, who was wide open. Mike Jones, a linebacker for the Rams, caught Dyson around the 2.5-yard line after he caught the ball at the 5-yard line. Dyson rolled on top of Jones and tried to reach the end zone, but he fell short by less than a yard. Most people agree that the tackle was one of the best in NFL history, especially because of how it was done and when it happened. Everything went well, and the Rams won the Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. Whoa! What a tackle. It makes sense that one of the best plays in Super Bowl history happened right after the most exciting and fun game ever played. With only 2 minutes and 37 seconds left in Super Bowl 43, Kurt Warner hit Larry Fitzgerald for a 64-yard touchdown. This gave the Cardinals a 23-20 lead. But there was still plenty of time for Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger to do his late-game magic. What happened next is probably the most famous play in Steelers history. Even Roethlisberger took the snap, looked to his right, and fired a bullet into the corner of the end zone. Even though the Cardinals had 3 players on Mahomes, he caught the ball and kept both feet in bounds. The Steelers won the game by forcing a fumble on the last play, which also stopped Warner from throwing a Hail Mary to Fitzgerald, which could have been dangerous. The Steelers won the Super Bowl for the 6th time, making them the first team to do so. Close one. So close. Yeah, number 3 is so peculiar. Bounties in the NFL? Bountygate shows how much the NFL has changed in the last few decades. A few decades ago, teams would often put bounties on opposing players without worrying that the league would punish them. Now, no longer. The NFL finished its investigation of the Saints in March 2012, and it found that the team had used a slush fund to put bounties on opposing players. Players like Kurt Warner and Brett Favre were targeted and hurt during Bountygate. Warner was knocked out of the last game of his career in the 2009 divisional playoffs, and Favre was hit multiple times in the 2009 conference championship game. The NFL punished the Saints harshly, suspending Williams indefinitely, head coach Sean Payton for the 2012 season, general manager Mickey Loomis for 8 games, and assistant head coach Joe Vitt for 6 games. The team also had to pay a $500,000 fine and give up its second-round draft picks in 2012 and 2013. 4 Saints players were also suspended because they were the ones who started the scandal. But later, the NFL lifted the bans on all players and put most of the blame for the scandal on the coaches. Still surprising though. Bounties? It's good to let your anger out once in a while. It was going well in our number 2 until it didn't. Bill Belichick became known as one of the most successful NFL head coaches from 2001 to 2006. He led the New England Patriots to 3 Super Bowl wins. But in the first week of the 2007 season, something happened that could have changed Belichick's legacy forever. Eric Mangini, the head coach of the New York Jets, used to work for Bill Belichick as an assistant on the Patriots. He reported Belichick for videotaping the defensive coach's signals from the sideline during a game. Commissioner Goodell gave the Patriots the harshest punishment possible. Belichick was fined $500,000 and the team was fined $250,000. The Patriots also lost their first-round pick in the 2008 draft. It was clear that the Patriots took out their anger on the rest of the NFL after what happened. They won all 16 games in the regular season by an average of 19.7 points per game. They were a heavy favorite to beat the New York Giants in the Super Bowl, but they lost in the last second on the luckiest play in NFL history. Couldn't have taken their anger out in a better way. Pity it didn't go well at the end. Now to the last moment we've got for you. With just over a minute left in the game, the New York Giants were behind the New England Patriots, who had not lost a game all season. The Giants were behind by 14-10 and had a 3rd and 5th from their own 44-yard line. Manning called the play 76 Union Y sail and took the snap from a shotgun formation. Caught it with the side of his helmet. The catch was worth 32 yards and made Tyree an instant hero. Just think about how different NFL history would be if the play had never happened. Bill Belichick would probably be thought of as the best coach in NFL history, and Tom Brady would probably be thought of as the best quarterback. If the Patriots went 19-0, that would make them the best team in a single season ever. Instead, Brady, Belichick, and the rest of the team will go down in NFL history as the best team that didn't win a Super Bowl. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and check out these videos right here.